Well, we're going from bath bombs to the bombshell of saying it's bedtime. Now, there's a lady on the Motherly website, Elizabeth Tentity, and she has written an article about how she's a relaxed mum. People wouldn't describe her as a strict person, except for when it comes to bedtime routine. Now, I have to confess, I really identify with it because I've just been really tight with bedtime with my kids, always. Well, not up until recently as they're starting to get older, but I've been really tight. I think it's made a difference. What's your experience been, Shona?
Why do you throw to me? I was
stuff to say.
I was really rigid with bedtimes. My kids, when they up until about school age, were going to bed at 5 o'clock. And would sleep 12 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so early.
I needed that time.
Wow. To you for achieving that.
So they would go to bed at 5. And then once they started school, they started increasing a little bit. Now it's hard to get one of them out of bed. But they're still quite early to bed kids. They sort of, go to bed late.
That must have allowed you a lot of time to yourself. If they went to bed at 5,
yes,
and your sanity just must have been cruising.
Well, yeah. Took a long time to clean the house, though, remember. I've got 2 boys.
Yeah, right.
I love this story. I was the same. I had to have my kids in bed by 7:30. If they weren't in bed by 7:30, I think I became, from mummy to a little bit monster, because I just could feel my blood pressure rising. I had to get my kids in bed by 7. I'd tell myself, just chill, but I couldn't. Because to me, I just needed that time. And what I used to do with my kids to get them to bed, I would say to them, OK, 7 o'clock, you can go to bed and go to sleep, or you can go to bed and read a book. So that was how I got my kids into reading so much, because kids don't want to go to bed.
No.
So it was a way of getting them into bed at a good time. But trouble is, later on, that created a problem, because they go to bed to read, but then they wouldn't go to sleep.
Oh,
They
really?
wanted to
That
keep
wouldn't
reading.
make them tired? That makes my girls tired when they read.
I have to go up and say, time to turn the light off, and they go, but it's the best bit. But,
Wow, they really do love reading.
They do love reading,
Wow.
but yeah.
Mary Ellen, do you remember when your mum or dad said to you, like, OK, I'm not going to tell you when to go to bed?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I actually remember the day it happened.
Really?
I think I was in about year 2 or 3. I was about 8 or 9 years old. And I remember my mum saying, OK, she put the other 2 to bed, and she said, if you want to stay up, that's OK. And at that moment, I realised my mum has been cheating me this whole time. She's been putting me to bed at like 7 o'clock so she could have her mum time. And it all clicked in my head. I was like, that's pretty smart, you know?
Wow, that's pretty early, though. Like, I know I didn't do it that early. I think my kids were probably about year 7 or 8 when I went,
wow.
no, now you can make the decision.
Yeah, no,
it wasn't year 2.
Yeah, no, I always had fairly, I'm not going to say lax, I think it was fairly strict in the beginning, but yeah, I remember being in year 7 or 8 and everyone else would go to bed at 6 and I'd go to bed at like 10, whatever. So,
I can't ever remember telling my kids you can decide when to go to bed. I don't remember when that change happened.
I don't do it now, but like my eldest is 8 and I really trust her. She'll put herself to sleep, but she takes a long time to go to sleep. So I put my kids to bed by 7. We've done all our stories and all that, bedtime routine. And I just say to her, look, you can read as long as you want. And at 8 o'clock I usually go in, and most times she's asleep. Yeah. And my other 4-year-old is very independent, and she's got a dollhouse up on there. And I leave her till about 7:30, and she's normally collapsed on top of that dollhouse. And she likes, isn't that uncomfortable? But I like that they can learn to put themselves to sleep. If they're in their room and happy,
My kids, once they got into high school, got their mobile phones, and I always had a routine. You could read, and then I would come up and say, time to put it away, you can go to sleep. High school, they would ring me from their rooms and say, Mum, can you come up and say good night?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Phones in the room?
They didn't have data on their phones back in those days. It's all changed.
Well, we're going to have to finish it there. Good luck to all the mums and dads out there putting their kids to bed. Don't forget, if you've got any ideas on putting kids to bed, please let us know. Or the fussy eaters, how we spoke before. We'd love to hear you on Facebook. Thanks for joining us today. There is always room for you at the table. We will see you next time. Bye for now.